Голова опозиції в канадському парламенті минулого тижня провів прес-конференцію з етнічною пресою Канади.
It's an honor to be with all of you here today. As you know, Canada is going through a horrible time right now. After 8 years of Trudeau, housing costs have doubled. Everything costs more. Hard work no longer pays. Crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are common in our street. Our immigration system is broken. He's had refugees living under bridges and on streets. We are losing international students to human trafficking, drug overdoses, and suicides. This is not the Canada that we knew and loved only 8 years ago. These are new problems that he created with out-of-control spending and money printing that caused inflation, with a carbon tax that already costs people more to eat, heat, and house themselves, which he wants to quadruple to 61 cents a liter, with more and more bureaucracy that blocks affordable home building, and with catch-and-release laws that allow repeat violent offenders to escape into our streets and do new crimes all over again. This is the good news, though, is that life wasn't like this before Trudeau, and it won't be like this after he's gone. We're going to bring home the country we know and love. We will bring home lower prices by axing the carbon tax and balancing the budget to bring down inflation and interest rates. We'll bring home powerful paychecks with lower income tax that rewards hard work. We're going to bring homes people can afford by removing the bureaucracy that blocks home building and speeding up permitting. We're going to require every big city permit 15% more home building per year, or they will lose their federal funds. Those that beat my target will get a building bonus to reward fast permitting and more building. And we will sell off 6,000 federal buildings and thousands of acres of federal land to build. Finally, we're going to have those homes in safe streets by getting rid of catch and release and bringing in jail, not bail for repeat violent offenders. So criminals go to jail when they do serious violent repeat offenses, and they will be ineligible for either parole or bail if they have a track record of hard crime. And then finally, we're going to bring home freedom to our country by repealing the censorship laws that have seen your journalistic work in some cases vanish from social media networks. The government should not decide what people read, say, and do online. Lawful activity should be allowed, and we will repeal censorship. We are going to make Canada the freest country on earth and put people back in charge of their lives. A country where hard work earns a powerful paycheck that buys nutritious food and a decent home and retirement in a safe neighborhood, and a free country. And we have to do the same and protect our money here in Canada. There's two ways: control spending, balance the budget, no more money printing, and sell more of our resources. When we sell our resources to the world, our dollar goes up in value because they have to buy our dollar to buy our resources, which bids up our money. And it used to be that when oil prices went up, the Canadian dollar went up. It was almost a dollar to the penny. If oil went up $1, the Canadian currency went up by a penny relative to the U.S. So if it was like $75 a barrel, the Canadian dollar was 75 cents U.S. And when it went up to $110, the Canadian dollar was $1.10 U.S. I don't know if it ever got quite that high, but it was parity and slightly higher at one point when oil was high just over a decade ago. So what do we need to do? We need to start selling more of our resources. Natural gas, we have 1,300 trillion cubic feet of it. Uranium, the biggest supply of any country on Earth for nuclear power. Oil, the third biggest supply on planet Earth. We could be selling that to the world. Right now, we do not export any petroleum to any country other than the United States. That is idiotic. I will approve pipelines and projects to get our resources to market and boost the purchasing power of our money. We have all the same materials and demographics of the Americans, and yet housing in the States is 1/3 to 50% cheaper. Why is it that Niagara, Canada is twice as expensive to buy a house as Niagara, US, 15 minutes apart? It's not materials. They have the same materials. They have the same, you go walk down the streets, the same age of the population. It's bureaucracy. It is the massive bureaucratization of this country. The same bureaucratization that prevented you from being an engineer is the one that prevents us from building homes. We need to remove the bureaucracy and grant fast building permits. Our goal should be to be the fastest place in the OECD to get a building permit. When we do that, we will have homes. Right now, we have the fewest homes per capita in the G7, even though we have the most land to build on. Why is Japan able to build more homes per capita than Canada, when their population is thousands of times more dense than ours? Well, they get things approved. We have no excuses. We have to stop making excuses in this country. It's difficult to say what needs will persist as the effort goes on, but we have stood against the Russian invasion and supported all efforts to protect Ukraine against that invasion. In addition to that, though, I think what we need to do is starve the money for the regime in Moscow. Right now, Putin is funding the war with his near monopoly on natural gas markets in Europe. We have the capacity to displace him as a major supplier of natural gas to Europe. Germany asked Canada for natural gas. So did Japan, both of which have to rely on Russian gas. Trudeau said, no, there's no business case. We have 1,300 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, cold temperatures to help us liquefy and put it on a ship, the shortest shipping distances to Europe and Asia from North America. The Americans have built 7 liquefaction facilities. We've built 0. The Qataris have doubled their production. The Germans built an import terminal from concept to completion in 194 days. We could ship gas to that terminal from Eastern Canada if the Prime Minister would grant permits for the construction of the liquefaction facilities that can put the gas on the ship. And that's what I'm going to do. We're going to displace Russia so that Putin can no longer use gas as his main geoeconomic tool of warfare against Ukraine and potentially other targets.